Did you know that this explosion is real? The modern king of practical effects, Christopher Nolan, insisted that this scene was to be done with real explosives. Everyone knows Oppenheimer invented the atomic bomb, but do you know what this invention truly meant to the world? Nolan is one of the most successful movie directors of the recent years. His dedication to always go the extra mile is one of the things that make his movies so unique. Oppenheimer cost $100 million to make, but made over $950 million at the box office. But why was it such an enormous success? Is it worth watching? Let's talk about it. I showed you earlier the famous Trinity test, a pivotal moment in the movie. You have to know that the explosion itself was real, on a smaller scale than the actual Trinity test, of course. But it was done in New Mexico with real explosives. The same goes for the replica of Los Alamos, the famous city built for the sole purpose of developing the first American atomic weapon. Outside scenes are filmed at the replica of the city, while indoor scenes, such as Oppenheimer's house, are filmed in the actual buildings in Los Alamos that are still standing. It's this dedication to make the main focus elements of the movie feel real that gives Oppenheimer such a high production quality. There's also a strong effort to make all the characters look and act like their real counterpart. I was shocked when I discovered that Gary Oldman is the actor that was playing the role of President Truman. I really had no idea that it was him playing the role, and yet it's uncanny how he looks exactly like Truman did. The whole movie is pretty quiet, you could say. Some people complained it was even sometimes too quiet. So much that it was hard to understand what was being said. Christopher Nolan mentioned in an interview that it was mainly because none of the dialogue was recaptured in post-production. He wanted to keep the dialogue as authentic as possible. But one thing I definitely enjoyed was the build-up in tension as the Trinity test approached. You can feel it in the pacing, the music, the troubled weather. The sound environment gets louder and louder until the countdown reaches 0. And at that moment, everything becomes silent. It was incredible because you would expect a lot of sound coming off of an atomic bomb, but there's a delay. The sound wave from the explosion takes several seconds to reach the scientists, and when it does, it hits like a shockwave. I'll be honest, I don't have a choice but to give a 3 out of 3 for production quality. When it comes to the story, this is a 3-hour-long movie. With a movie that long, you really only have 2 choices. Either you get bored halfway through the movie because it's unnecessarily long, or you watch the whole thing and when it's done, you have your jaw drop to the floor and you realize how insignificant your own life is. That for me is the mark of a great movie. And that's what happened for me when the Oppenheimer movie ended. The story is crafted in a way that made me care about things that I would never have cared about normally. American politics, for instance. All the narrative related to Lewis Strauss was completely new to me. His part in the movie is mainly political, as he's involved with the AEC, a governmental agency that is responsible for controlling and regulating all the atomic technologies. And he uses his political influence to destroy his enemies, and in this case, someone he doesn't like and is jealous of. Strauss feels compelled by his jealousy to take down Oppenheimer, but this personal vendetta makes him lose his nomination for Secretary of Commerce for President Eisenhower. This is the type of plot that I would normally not be interested in. Christopher Nolan, however, has a way to build up stories in a way that makes them intriguing, always wanting more to get something like justice. There's also captivating material built into the story that is made for audiences who don't really care about the scientific or the political side of Oppenheimer's life. The movie also explores the relationships that Oppenheimer had during his life. His troubled relationship with Jean Tadlock, which ended in her suicide. His marriage with Catherine or Kitty, a woman who was already married to another man when she got pregnant with Oppenheimer's kid. Nolan did not hesitate to go into the details of those relationships, which is why Oppenheimer is his first R-rated movie since Memento in 2000 and Insomnia in 2002. More than 20 years ago. The storyline in this movie is very well rounded. It feels accurate and complete. The only thing that makes me hold back from giving it a perfect score is that I could not understand the whole movie from only watching the movie itself. I had to dig online for more information to understand things like what was Strauss even being questioned for in the first place? That's the reason I'm giving it a 2.8 out of 3 for the storyline and ending. By the way, if you enjoy the content I'm making, don't hesitate to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I mostly do movie reviews and recaps, so if you're a big fan of movies, definitely stick around my channel. You'll get a lot of entertainment and value. Now let's move and check out what people think about this movie. Alright, here we are. I was very excited for this moment. We're gonna go online to check what people thought about this movie. So let's head to the IMDb website. So here we are with the Oppenheimer movie on the IMDb website, and guys, I'm not going to lie to you, it's very impressive. So right off the bat, we can see the rating. The rating is 8.4 out of 10. This is actually amazing. It's a really high score for IMDb. And you can see also for 2024, the 2024 Oscars, the movie is nominated for 13 Oscars. I mean, this is amazing. I guess I'm really not the only one who really liked this movie. So let's go ahead and check the ratings in a bit more detail. Let's scroll down a bit. Oh yeah, that's what I thought. 80% of people rated the movie 8 or higher. That's incredible. So, after reading a bunch of comments, I'll tell you the most interesting things I found out. People who liked the movie actually loved it. From the story, to the acting, to the music, all of it. Cillian Murphy. A lot of people consider him the lead actor to beat when we're talking about Oscar nominations. Some comments mention the duration of the movie, saying it's from 30 to 60 minutes too long. People feel the length of the movie. I think it's a valid critic, because the movie is a marathon. And then some people commented on the movie being too loud. I don't really understand this comment. Maybe they watched it in an IMAX theater and they bumped up the volume so that you could actually hear the dialogue. I watched it at home, and I had the opposite thought. I thought the movie was really quiet. Then you have some comments of people talking about the focus of the movie not being what they thought it should be. For example, you have people commenting whether or not dropping the bomb on Japan was a good decision or not. You also have comments of people saying it was not focused on the technicalities of actually building the first atomic bomb. But this for me just confirms that this movie has so many aspects that it could talk about. It's such a rich story. It does its best at addressing what it can, but it had to leave some stuff on the table for sure. If we go back to the rating of the movie, 8.4 out of 10, and we scale it down to our rating out of 3, we get an amazing 2.5 out of 3 for audience ratings. We've talked about a lot of stuff. The incredible production quality, the complex and detailed story, the praises of people online. Now it's time to stop messing around and settle the real question. Is it worth watching? Is it worth your time? My answer is understandably absolutely yes. It's really difficult to find a fault to this movie, aside from the dialogue that is sometimes a bit difficult to pick up, and the complex story which can make people feel a bit out of touch. The rest is perfect. It's definitely in one of my top 3 movies for 2023. So if we add up the scores, the final score for the movie is 9.3 out of 10. If you still have trouble understanding the movie, or if it's just been a while since you saw it, I strongly recommend you to watch this video, where you will get a 180-second summary of the movie and all the major plot points of Oppenheimer's life.